First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WFT News First at 5. I'm Amy Galo.
And I'm Emily Palazzotto. Thanks for joining us. Governor Ron DeSantis announced early Monday state relief funds for hurricane victims along the Gulf Coast. From Punta Gorda, the governor said he's not waiting for FEMA to assist at least 2,000 people who've applied for help.
So today I'm announcing Florida will be providing up to $25 million through state funds to purchase building materials and provide those materials to verified nonprofit organizations to restore damaged homes to livable conditions so that Floridians can move back into their own homes.
FEMA has spent more than $2 billion after Hurricane Ian and expects the total may end up closer to $5 billion. The insured losses are expected to top $50 billion. It has felt great here ever since Thanksgiving. I hope it stays like this.
I agree. I like that it's a little chilly at night lately. WFT's Kimberly Blum joins us now with this week's weather forecast.
The temperatures right now are looking at the mid-70s in the northern central Florida area, so it's not too cold but also not too hot. It's a comfortable temperature to go out and take a walk. With this, later tonight we'll be seeing temperatures in the mid-60s to the lower 60s earlier in the morning. This colder temperature will lead to dense fog tomorrow in the morning. Be cautious with your drive to then. We'll be experiencing fogs in the middle of the I-70 and I-75 and I-10. With that, remember to be cautious with the lower temperatures we'll be having tonight. And now back to the studio.
Former UF quarterback Jalen Kitna's arrest spotlights a rise in child porn crimes across Central Florida and an ongoing problem in the nation at large. 2020 saw 4,053 cases in Central Florida, according to the Central Florida Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. And the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reported a 35% increase in online child sexual exploitation from 2020 to 2021. For more on how law enforcement approaches the problem, there are stories now at WUFT.org about both the Kitna case and the problem in general.
This week, an unusual criminal case returns to court in Alachua County. Police arrested Lucas Carlton, who's now 21, on charges related to incidents last year on I-75 in Alachua County. There were multiple reports of someone in a pickup pulling alongside other vehicles and using a pellet gun to shoot out windows. Carlton is scheduled for a competency hearing this week. Ever thought about how hard it must be to drive a school bus? With a little practice, you could do it too. As Alachua County Public Schools grapple with the need for more bus drivers, they're giving those curious about the job a chance to try it out. On Saturday, the school district held a 2-hour event where participants could take a turn in the driver's seat. The Come Drive the Bus event was the first of its kind in Alachua County.
If we don't get these kids to school, then they can't learn. So it's a vital part of the district's initiative.
Or someone you know is interested in taking part in this program or becoming an Alachua County school bus driver, you can start the application process online.
Gainesville's Historic Preservation Board will meet tomorrow regarding a certificate of appropriateness to demolish the Thelma Bolton Center. The building, built in 1943, was originally an entertainment spot for servicemen stationed at nearby bases. Now, almost 80 years later, code enforcement has declared it a dangerous building for multiple material and design failures. The board is proposing a demolition and rebuild in the same architectural style. The new interior would be redesigned to create a more functional space for community events.
A local cemetery in Cedar Key is making shocking discoveries about its history. Just steps away from the Gulf of Mexico, the quaint North Florida city is no stranger to hurricanes. Weathering caused by these storms over the years has led to the discovery of 30 unmarked graves of predominantly black families. Further research revealed that 30 graves is really 90 graves, all of which are to be marked. Some funding for granite markers for the graves comes after a unanimous vote from the City Commission. The rest of the funding is coming from a state grant applied for by the Historical Society.
Gainesville is a city rich in art and culture. In the late 80s, a group of Gainesville artists, armed with chalk, drew footprints from one downtown art gallery to another. They called it Art Walk. Since then, the chalk prints have weathered away, but their legacy has continued. The last Friday of every month, businesses around the city host local artists and creatives.
So it's like a really cool way to bring like lots of different art forms together and to celebrate also the local places that make Gainesville thrive too.
Businesses not usually centered around art participate in the effort to keep the tradition alive. This monthly ritual has no plan of stopping.
New medical research shows a downside to the rise of cannabis products.
The numbers may surprise you. When WUFT News returns, we'll tell you what they found out about the risk for underage people overdoing it.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. It's Election Day tomorrow in the final midterm race of 2022. The Georgia Senate runoff has the candidates in a last-minute campaign blitz across the state. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
After shattering early voting records, the final consequential contest of the midterm elections is drawing to a close in Georgia's Senate runoff.
Are you ready to win this election?
The Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker giving their closing campaign pitches.
So get out and vote. Get your friends out and vote.
Before voters have the last word tomorrow.
I got Warnock. Herschel.
The election has huge national implications. A Republican win gives the GOP a chance to block President Biden's agenda.
Stop legislation, stop nominations, and stop bad investigations in the Senate.
While Democrats, who've already won the narrowest possible majority in the Senate, are looking to cement their power, bringing in heavy hitters.
We're going to bring it on home.
And pouring money into campaign ads. Warnock far outspending Walker in the runoff. And the Republican has another challenge, new allegations from an ex-girlfriend who claims he physically attacked her in 2005.
I have to tell the Herschel I know.
Walker and his team have not responded to the allegations that come after Walker's ex-wife and son previously accused him of abuse. Still, polls show a very close race that will come down to turnout on another pivotal election day in Georgia with lasting impact across the country. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A woman and a child were found dead after a plane crashed in the Gulf of Mexico. It happened shortly before 8 p.m. on Saturday. Officials say they began investigating on Sunday morning after the Piper Cherokee plane failed to return to St. Petersburg. Recreational boaters found the body of a woman floating in the Gulf. She has been confirmed as someone who was in the plane when it crashed. The plane was located on Sunday by air assets about 1/3 of a mile west offshore and directly west of the Venice airport. A short while later, they located the body of a child in the wreckage of the plane underwater. The body of the man believed to be the pilot was not found. Venice police say they will continue searching for the missing man as conditions allow.
In Ukraine, another week of Monday missile strikes continues the pattern of Russia targeting energy infrastructure. NBC's Allison Barber reports from the capital.
Air raid sirens began sounding across Ukraine around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Ukraine's Air Force says they were tracking missiles being fired from at least 3 different areas, including from Russian ships in the Black Sea. We're hearing reports of strikes in at least 4 different regions, but Ukraine says their air defense systems did intercept some of the missiles that were fired. In Zaporizhia region, 2 people are reportedly dead, 2 wounded. In Odessa, there are reports of power outages, no heat, no electricity, and water outages. Officials say they expect multiple waves of missile attacks today, largely targeting Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Communities are constantly preparing for moments like this in Ukraine. They've experienced attacks since early October. Ukraine's national energy company says there have been confirmed hits on energy infrastructure. They haven't said exactly how many, but they and other officials are warning they believe this is just the beginning of missile strikes. They are expecting additional waves. Reporting in Kyiv, Ellison Barber, NBC News.
In the U.S., a new study says child and teen abuse of marijuana has increased by 245% since the year 2000. Oregon Health and Science University analyzed data reported to the National Poison Control System. There were over 300,000 instances of intentional abuse or misuse involving Americans ages 6 to 18. The study says the dramatic uptick coincides with a wave of decriminalization legislation in the U.S., as well as the growing popularity of edible cannabis products. Marijuana extracts, such as in cannabis vaping products, were also increasingly popular. Today was a beautiful day outside.
I know, I didn't even break a sweat on my walk over here. Let's check with WFT's Kimberly Blum for more.
It's looking nice outside of our studio right now, but will it stay the same? Find out after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
So here's the campus live view right now. We're seeing sunny, cloudy skies, but the temperature is still really nice to go out and have a walk. If you walk out of this campus right now, you'll see that we are having cloudy, but the sun is still managing to shine through. Speaking on which, the temperatures are still within the mid-70s in the northern central Florida area, which again is a very comfortable weather. You won't be sweating, but you also won't be too cold. These temperatures are perfect as of right now, but they will be seen to go lower throughout tonight. For example, if our evening schedule, we're seeing that at 7 p.m. the skies will be mostly clear. But as we go down throughout the night, we'll be seeing that around 10 p.m. it'll be cooling down, and with this cooling down, we'll be seeing the fog begin around early in the morning and throughout the morning tomorrow. With this fog, we'll be seeing that around I-10 and I-75, it will be a cautious drive, so make sure to check out the temperature around that time. Speaking of which, tomorrow morning we'll be seeing lower temperatures throughout the upper 60s and the mid 50s. Again, a little bit chillier than we are seeing now, but a comfortable temperature to stay out. For example, here we can see that throughout the Nature Coast we're seeing higher temperatures of 62, but begins to vary as we go upper through North Florida. Speaking on Tuesday's forecast, we are seeing that there is fog with these lower temperatures. Be cautious of the fog that starts throughout early in the morning and ends throughout in the middle of the day. With this, we are seeing again on I-75 and I-10 that the fog will be dense. Be careful as this. We advise you to be cautious. Leave a few minutes early to avoid any interruptions that will be on the street. With this fog, we are then seeing that in the evenings throughout the hour by hour. At 8 a.m. tomorrow, we see that the temperatures begin to rise through the midday as we see temperatures in 78 at 2 p.m. noon tomorrow. With this, temperatures will again begin to decrease and seeing temperatures like today. With this, hour by hour, we are seeing that Tuesday will once again have high temperatures as we are having now, a little bit hotter than today, but it'll still be a comfortable temperature. Lastly, we'll be seeing with the dense fog in the morning, do not forget, this is just a last reminder, the dense fog tomorrow will be something that will be appearing. And back to the studio, thank you.
The Florida Gators football team will be competing at the bowl game.
That's right, and with the season wrapping up, they'll now know where they'll be heading. Coming up in sports, WUFT's Chris Will tells us where the Gators will play, as well as who they face and what Gators may not be taking the field. We'll be right back.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Chris Will. Florida football finished the season with a .500 record, which means they'll be heading to a bowl game. The Gators announced they will be participating in the Las Vegas Bowl. Florida will take on the Oregon State Beavers on December 17th. The game is set to be held in the home of the Las Vegas Raiders, Allegiant Stadium. Oregon State will be the 7th college football playoff top 25 team the Gators face this season. And the Gators could be looking quite thin for that matchup. Quarterback Anthony Richardson, offensive lineman Osiris Torrance, and defensive lineman Jervon Dexter will all be making the leaps to the NFL. Richardson has contributed for over 3,000 yards in 2022 with 26 total touchdowns to his name. Torrance hasn't given up a sack in his entire collegiate career at both Louisiana and Florida. Dexter has 50 total tackles, 2 sacks, and even an interception this season. 3 key players on both sides of the ball that will join wide receiver Justin Shorter in going pro and forgoing the bowl game. Gator Gymnastics hosts its Hype Night at 6:45 tonight. The team will not stream or televise the event, but it is free and seating is first come, first serve. Shawn Humphrey is out at Exact Tech Arena. Shawn, how is it?
Well, the gymnastics team is getting ready to go behind me. This meet is the first chance for Gator fans to see their team in action. And it's not an official meet. The season starts in a month on January 6th with a quad meet. 3 other teams coming to the O-Dome to compete against the Gators, but they were the national runner-up last season, so they're trying to get over the hump. 3rd time's the charm, at least the Gators hope so. They finished runner-up to Oklahoma last year. They'll get another crack at that team in March, hoping to avenge their loss in the national championship meet. Trinity Thomas is coming back for a 5th year. She's been excellent, 27-time All-American, record 16-time SEC Gymnast of the Week. And she's right behind me getting ready to go today. The fans are excited, and let's hope it's a good season here at Exactech Arena. Back to you all.
Thanks, Shawn. Sounds like it should be a fun night for UF Gymnastics, but moving over to women's basketball, they keep their hot start to the season going. A 69-65 win over Dayton brought the Gators to 8-1 on the year. Nina Rickards led the way with 24 points. Next up for Florida, they'll take on Presbyterian tomorrow at 6 p.m. And moving over to men's basketball, also returned to the court yesterday as they took on the Stetson Hatters and had absolutely no trouble getting their 6th win on the year. It was the second of a 3-game homestand for the Gators, and they had no trouble defending their home court. Colin Castleton got the show going early with this smooth assist. He had 11 points on the day and now just needs 2 points to reach 1,000 career points. The big man, Jason Chitobo, got in on the fun as well, knocking down this deep 3. Gators get the win 89-51. They'll take on UConn on Wednesday. Florida volleyball survives and advances on to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. Back-to-back sweeps against Florida A&M and Iowa State have sent the Gators to the regional semifinal for the 29th time in program history. The Florida will travel to Wisconsin for a regional date with the Pittsburgh Panthers. The number 2 seed Panthers come in with a 29-3 record, while the Gators enter the match on a 4-game win streak and a 25-5 record of their own. First serve on Thursday is set for 3:30. In the race for a high school football state championship, the Hawthorne Hornets are the lone area team remaining. The Hawthorne Hornets ran all over Blountstown Tigers. A strong run from Hornets Darian Smith-Williams got the Hawthorne Hornets on the board early. 12 first-quarter points for the Hornets would get them well on their way to a 28-0 blowout of the Tigers. The Hornets move to 11-0 on the season and take on 13-0 Northview Chiefs in the state championship after they took down Union County. Kickoff for the state championship is set for Saturday at 7 p.m. in Tallahassee.
Thanks, Chris, and bottoms up, everyone. Today is National Repeal Day. It marks the end of prohibition in the U.S. The 18th Amendment ushered in prohibition by banning the manufacture, transportation, or sale of alcohol. It went into effect in 1920, but that all ended with the 21st Amendment, which repealed it. That went into effect on December 5th, 1933. You can mark the day by throwing a party at a speakeasy-style bar, trying a new cocktail, or having a mocktail if you don't drink alcohol. You can post your celebration on social media with the hashtag National Repeal Day.
Before we go, let's take one last check on the weather.
For our final forecast, we are seeing that tomorrow there will be future fog with dense around the northern central area of Florida. And we'll also see with the weekly forecast, we are seeing that right now we're at a high of 79 with tomorrow going to 80, Wednesday going to 80. And we'll see that throughout the week the temperatures will be lowering. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Kimberly. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.